Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Ecosystem, and today in this video we will cover part 4. Now let's begin with a question which was asked in the year 2012. The upright pyramid of number is absent in dash. See, in a forest, a single tree can support a large number of birds. Thus, base showing producers in a pyramid of number will be narrower than the next slab of showing primary consumers. So what do you think will be the answer now? I've given you the hint. Right, I've given you the hint here. So when you talk about the pyramid of biomass or numbers, whatever, it is a graphical representation of biomass which presents the unit area of various trophic levels. It shows the relationship between biomass and the trophic level, quantifying the biomass available in each trophic level of an energy community at a given time. Okay, so this is how you define a pyramid of biomass. Now the upright pyramid of number is absent in forest. Option B, forest. Okay, next question here. The second stage of hydrosphere is occupied by dash. Okay, what do you mean by hydrosphere? How can you define it? See, hydrosphere is a plant succession in which occurs, so usually they occur in the areas of fresh water. Okay, they occur in the areas of fresh water such as the Oxbow lakes and many other lakes. In time, an area of open fresh water will naturally dry out, ultimately becoming a woodland. During this change, a range of land types such as swamp and marsh will succeed each other. Okay, so you have different hydrosphere. Out of the 4 options, the second stage of hydrosphere will be occupied by Valsinaria, which is option D. A hydrosphere is a plant succession which occurs in the fresh water. The second stage of hydrosphere will be submerged stage that will be represented by the following species here: Hydrelia, Laude, Utricularia, Valsinaria. Therefore, the correct answer is option D. Okay, next question here. So you have you have a picture of how the Valsinaria looks. Fine, next question here. Identify the likely organisms 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the food web as shown. So you just have to identify, right? So here if you see, let's talk about 1. So the vegetation seeds, mice you have. So what will be here? It will be, see, this is eaten up by the lion, so it should obviously be a deer. Okay, and 2, if you see vegetation seeds, and this is eaten by the garden lizard, right? No, it is not eaten by the garden lizard, it is eaten by the foxes. I'm sorry. So it should be rabbit. And this third one, grasshopper, and of course this should be frog. Easy, right? And this one will be a, okay, what will be eaten by hawks? Rat. Have you understand? So you have to relate and study. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option A, deer, rabbit, frog and rat. Food web is a network of food chains or feeding relationships by which energy and nutrients are passed from one species of the living organism to another. So when you talk about a food chain or a food web, you have to remember this. It's a cycle, right? Fine. Next question here. Mass of living matter at a trophic level in an area at any time is called as dash. So this is actually a definition that they have given here. Okay, this definition goes well with standing crop. So what do you mean by a standing crop? How can you define a standing crop? See, when we talk in terms of biology, it is the total amount or the number of living things or the one kind of living thing in a particular area at a given time. Okay, so mostly they are the growing crops, especially of cereals, or sometimes you can also consider the total biomass. Okay, total biomass of an ecosystem. or its components at a given time. Okay, the total amount or the number of living things or of one kind of living thing, such as uncut farm crop or the fish in pond or the organisms in the ecosystem, all that is called a standing crop. So how is a standing crop measured? Each trophic level has certain mass of living material at a particular time called as standing crop. The standing crop is measured as a mass of living organisms. What are they measured as? As the mass of living organisms or the number in a unit area. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A, standing crop. Okay, next question here. Which one of the following statements for a pyramid of energy is incorrect, whereas the remaining three are correct? Okay, we have to analyze the statements here. Okay, it is the base, its base is broad, right? Its base is broad, yes, that is right. It shows energy content or content of different trophic levels, that is right. It is inverted in shape, it is upright in shape. It's inverted in shape is what is wrong. An energy pyramid is a graphical representation of the different trophic levels by which the incoming solar energy is transferred into the ecosystem, and it is something that you cannot invert you can't invert and study about it. Therefore, the one that is incorrect out of the four options is option C. Next question here. Which one of the following animals may occupy more than one trophic level in the same ecosystem at the same time? Okay, this is a very easy question for you. They're asking us about the following animals which occupy more than one trophic level. Okay, lion and frog, if you see, they don't occupy more than one level. It should be between sparrow and goat. See, when we talk about a primary consumer, so here if you see, when we talk about sparrow, one thing that you need to understand here is sparrow feeds on grains and it also feeds on insects. So since it feeds on grains, it is called as a primary consumer and it will occupy the second trophic level. Since it is occupying, since it feeds on insects as well, right? Since it is feeding on insects as also, so what happens? It is also called as a secondary consumer. So it occupies the third trophic level again. Therefore, the correct answer will be sparrow. Now you understand why the answer is sparrow. It has two things as a source of food. One is grains. One is grains. And the other is insects. Since it feeds on this, it becomes a secondary consumer. I'm sorry with the pen. And since it feeds on this insect, it becomes what does it become? See, here it becomes primary consumer, here it becomes secondary consumer. It occupies the second trophic level and here it occupies the third trophic level. So here the question is very clear where they are asking us where an animal can occupy more than two trophic level, more than one trophic level. Therefore, the correct answer is option A, sparrow. Next question here. Both Hydrac and Iraq successions lead to dash. This is a very self-explanatory question. I think by now you'd have guessed the answer. It's a medium water condition, right? What does a xerophyte do? Where there is a lot of scarcity in water, the stomata remains most of the time it remains closed so that the water will not get exploited or water will not get wasted. So the clue is in the question itself. Okay, it is a medium water condition. Hydrac succession takes place in wet areas and xerac succession respectively, which takes place in dry areas. So both this succession leads to the medium water conditions. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A. Next question here. Study the four statements given below and select the two correct ones out of them. So let's analyze one statement by statement. Okay. So what is the first statement here? A lion eating a deer and a sparrow feeding on grain are ecologically similar in being consumers. Okay. That is right? Predator starfish helps in maintaining species diversity of some invertebrates. That is also right. Predators ultimately lead to the extinction of prey species. Wrong. Production of chemicals such as nicotine and other things by the plants are metabolic disorders. Wrong. So the two statements which are correct out of them is the first two. Okay. Uh, while if you take the statement 3 and 4, they are incorrect because predators cannot lead to the extinction of prey species. See, it's a part of the food chain. So how can they lead to some extinction? It's natural that the system follows. Predators and prey evolve together. The statement 4 is also incorrect because the chemicals such as nicotine and other chemicals produced by the plants are not the metabolic disorders but they are metabolic waste of a plant. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option D. 1 and 2 are correct. Next question here. The correct sequence of plants in a hydrosphere correct. So you need to talk about hydrosphere. I already spoke about hydrosphere, right? Okay. Now talking about the hydrosphere. So what did I explain about it in the earlier question? It is a plant succession. Right. It's a plant succession which occurs in the area of fresh water such as oxbow lakes and kettle lakes. In time, an area of open fresh water will naturally dry out, so ultimately becoming a woodland. During this change, the range of different land types such as swamp or marsh will succeed each other. Okay, so see a plant. So I obviously gave you an a hint of what will be the answer. Okay, so here if you see, the correct sequence of the plant for hydrosphere is the wallbox, Hydrelia, Pistia, Scripps, and Lantana and oak. Okay, hydrosphere is a plant succession which occurs in freshwater lake. In time, the area open fresh water such as lake will naturally die out. That's what I had explained already. Okay, so the succession from the open water to climax woodland is likely to take at least 200 years. Therefore, the correct sequence is as follows, which is option A is the right answer. Next question here. Which one of the following types of organism occupy more than one trophic level in a pond ecosystem? This is again an easy question for you because we already discussed about it, right? We saw a sparrow for that example. Now, when we talk about a pond ecosystem, it is a delicate balance of the fish, plants and other animals. Fish occupy more than one trophic level because small fishes act as secondary consumer and they feed on primary consumer, and large fishes act as tertiary consumers because they feed on the smaller fishes. So the cycle goes like that. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option A, fishes. Okay. Now let's move to the next question here. Consider the following statement concerning food chains. So we need to analyze the statements here. We'll go one by one. Removal of 80% tigers from an area resulted in greatly increased growth of vegetation. That's wrong. Removal of most of the carnivores resulted in increased population of deers. That's right. The length of the food chains is generally limited to the 3-4 trophic levels due to the energy loss. That's right. The length of the food chains may vary from 2 to 8 trophic levels. That is wrong. Okay, food chains is the transfer of energy. So it starts like this. You have the primary, it moves on to the secondary, it moves on to the tertiary, and that's how it moves. Though the sequence of the organisms occupies in the food chain is known as at its trophic level, therefore statement B and C are correct. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A. Apart from that, if you want to know something more about a food chain or a food web, okay, so here if you see, a food chain is a linear network of links in a food web starting from the producer organisms and ending at the apex predator species. So they include detrivorous or decomposer species. A food chain also shows how the organisms are related with each other by the food they eat. Each level of food chain represents a different trophic level. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A. Next question here. Which one of the following is not used for the construction of the ecological pyramids? This is a self-explanatory question and I think all of you will know what the answer is. Rate of energy flow is required, number of individuals is required. Now what is this dry weight and fresh weight? Maybe we need to analyze that. Right? Dry weight. Now Dry weight in biology, we can talk in terms of like, I mean, or you can say it's in a in biological terms, dry weight is the weight or the mass of an organic matter or the soil after removal of water by heating at constant weight. Okay, so that is in terms of biology. Now, what do you mean by fresh weight? Without removing the water, this thing, right? That's how you will calculate, right? So, fresh weight is recorded immediately after the plant or the part of the plant is harvested. So dry weight will be recorded after drying the plant, while fresh weight will be taken, without any, it's fresh. So it's self-explanatory here. So the one which will not be considered or used for the construction of ecological pyramid will be fresh weight. Option C. Fresh weight is not used in the construction of the ecological pyramid because the total fresh weight does not change into energy. Hence, we can say that fresh weight is not continuous in the trophic level. Therefore, fresh weight is not considered for an ecological pyramid. Okay? Okay. Now, let's move to the next question here. An ecosystem which can be easily damaged but can recover after some time if damaging effect stops will be having dash. Okay, this is a very logical question. That's how we can say. Okay, we have to think the logic here. So, imagine an ecosystem is easily damaged, but at the same time it can recover if the effect stops. So, what do you think will happen there? But the recover process will take some time. So, the stability will be the same? No, it will be low. And what do you mean by resilience? That we need to know the common meaning, right? What do you mean by resilience? Resilience can be described as, or you can say it as resilience, right? Resilience is a capacity to recover quickly from the difficulties or the toughness. It is the ability of the substance or the object to spring back into the shape, which includes elasticity or something else. So an ecosystem which is easily damaged but can recover after some time if the damage effect has come to an end. The stability will be low, but the resilience capacity will be high. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A. Okay. Next question here. Bamboo plant that is growing in the fir forest, then what will be in the trophic level of it? So they're asking us which level will it occupy. So you have 4 levels, right? So what does a bamboo plant do? So what is a bamboo plant first of all? What category is whether it is a consumer or a producer? It's actually a producer. So what does a producer do? So what level it will be? It will be in the first level. Therefore, T1 will be the answer. Second trophic level will be occupied by this primary consumers, while the third will be occupied by the secondary consumers. Since bamboo plant is a producer, obviously it will occupy the first level, which is T1. Option A is the right answer. Next question here. The transfer of energy from one trophic level to another is governed by the second law of thermodynamics. The average efficiency of the energy transfer from herbivorous to carnivorous is dash. So this question was asked in 1996 and again repeated in 99. Maybe you need to concentrate a little. According to the 10% law, to each trophic level, only 10% of energy received is transferred to the next trophic level. Therefore, the right answer to this question is 10%. So what does the second law of thermodynamics say? Maybe if I tell that, you will be able to understand. Second law of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics states that the total entropy of an isolated system can never decrease over time, and it is constant if and only if all processes are reversible. Isolated systems spontaneously evolve towards a thermodynamic equilibrium, the state with maximum entropy. Therefore, I've given you a clue. So this is the clue. Therefore, the right answer to this question will be 10%. Option B is the right answer. Okay. So I've also explained you the second law of thermodynamics. It works well for that. So with this, we complete the part 4 of ecosystem. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter. Thank you.